Merry Christmas. I hope your Christmas celebrations so far have been good and richly blessed. I loved the spirit of our Christmas masses and the experience of them. And I loved how many people came. 10 p.m. Christmas Eve, church was packed. 6:30 p.m. Christmas Eve, church was packed. I mean, we could have scrunched in a few more people. 4 p.m., church was packed. In Father Dowling Hall, where we had 300 chairs, standing room only. Christmas masses, kind of about like normal, almost basically, but it's great. I loved this comment at the 6:30 Mass, which Father Leo was leading. I said, oh, how great it was to have so many people here. I just love that. I said, the only bad thing for me is there wasn't enough time to, I don't know, say hi to everybody and see how they're doing, et cetera, et cetera. That's me now. Father Leo, I said, he couldn't care less. He thought that was funny, and I should say it at all the other masses, so we did. So anyway, then I had time with my family, which I just love, just dear time. 2 things here. The survey, if you're a parishioner, we'd love to hear from you. 5 minutes. It's online until midnight, New Year's Eve. And as regards New Year's Eve, we'll have 2 masses, one at 5 New Year's Eve and one at 11 on New Year's Day, that holy day of obligation. We switch now to this weekend, the Feast of the Holy Family. Family is important. It's also difficult, at least often difficult, right? For this Feast of the Holy Family, these 2 questions. 1, do you have adolescent children now or ever have had them? And 2, were you ever one yourself? Again, thanks so much for joining. My love to you. This might not be your struggle these days, but it must be tough sometimes being 11, 12, 13 years or so old. I mean, there can be some really lonely times, can't there? Sometimes you feel kind of self-conscious, maybe. I mean, where do you fit into this world and its people? Your family might feel so annoying or stifling. It seems like everyone's on your case half the time. It must be tough sometimes to be 11, 12, 13 years old or so. And it must be tough sometimes to be the parent of someone that age. Mark Twain had this interesting proposal. Now, I think it should be a couple years younger now, but he said, when your kids hit 13, you should put them in one of those barrels with a hole in it. When they hit 16, cork up the hole. Or, there's what we hear in this conversation between a woman and her doctor. She says, "Doctor, I'd like you to evaluate my 13-year-old son." The doctor says, he's suffering from a transient psychosis with an intermittent rage disorder punctuated by episodic radical mood swings, but his prognosis is good for a full recovery. I mean, the woman was taken aback. How can you say all that? You've never even met him. The doctor says, I thought you said he was 13. Yeah. Okay, yeah. It's not easy being a young person. It's not easy being the parent of one. Conflict within families, particularly between generations, is old as time. Young people going through radical hormonal and physical changes start distancing themselves from their parents as they begin to establish their own sense of self. Professionals call the process individuation. For the young person has to come to know who they are apart from mom and dad. It's the process of forging their own sense of self. And this always involves some kind of pushing away. Some young folks negotiate this more gracefully than others. It's painful for all, and it has to happen. Every family is sometimes messy, challenging. And one of the reasons I love today's gospel story about Jesus and his parents is its honesty about the messy reality of the Holy Family as well as ours. Here are two parents facing the adolescent years of their child. Jesus seems to get absorbed in this conversation he's having in the temple, right, and loses all track of time. Evidently, it never even dawns on him to somehow send word to his parents. I mean, it's like he never even thought of what effect this might have on them. All the while, they're frantically searching for him, hearts racing, worried to never see him again. I think every parent can understand how terrified Mary and Joseph must have been looking for their lost child. When they do find him, Mary's fear turns understandably to anger. And she says kind of sharply, "Son, why have you done this to us?" And Jesus shoots back, "Why were you looking for me? Did you not know I must be in my Father's house?" Now I imagine that Jesus later apologized for how he said that, but that he did not apologize that he said it, because on some level, even in this Holy Family, he had to individuate. Because every teenager has to come to a sense of who they are supposed to be, not who their parents want them to be. And in moments where we are less than truly free, parents might want to keep that from happening, but that only leads to harm. And if kids, I mean, I've seen it too often, I really do. And if kids don't individuate at this stage, they will do it in their 20s or 30s or 40s or whenever. Now, of course, parents need to set and keep some boundaries, right? They also need to, do what they can to nurture those values that truly last in their children, right? Our kids need that. But it's also our work as parents, our parent figures, to let them go and to love them for who they are. And it's not always clear how to best do that. But it's worth it. I mean, even though everyone gets a little bit bruised and beat up on this messy, difficult process, it's ultimately worth it, because it's the only as we let them go that we are ever able to receive them back as they truly are now. And the result of this painful work is that it ultimately leads to a new respect for who the other person is and a deeper appreciation one to another. And there comes a time for each of us, whatever our life situations, when we have to parent ourselves. Whether our parents are living or dead, we need to take the best of them and internalize it, while doing our best to let go of anything not healthy that we heard from them, learned from them, got from them. We keep the wisdom, we let go of what was not so great. Parents, when it's not easy, there are a number of things to remember. Here are 5. 1, don't panic when it happens in your family. It even happened to Jesus' family. 2, please try not to take it too personally. It's not personal, even though your kid will often do their best to make it feel personal. It's not, and it has to happen. 3, if possible, keep a sense of humor, help each other laugh along the way. 4, do that inner work that enables you to let go, right? To be able to say, my child, my children, that's not me. How they behave is not truly a reflection on me. My children are not me, and they should not be me. And 5, please make sure your kids know that no matter what, you are committed to them, and that nothing will ever break that commitment. I mean, your children may bring you all kinds of challenges, even heartaches, but please don't draw a line in the sand, right? What a waste that so many people go to their graves carrying such unfortunate and useless division. No, your kids need to know that they will never cease to be your son, your daughter. Now, if you are a teen, I have one thing I'd like to say to you, if that's okay. But first, this caveat. If there is great dysfunction in your family and you don't feel safe, please own your truth. Speak up, right? Set boundaries as you need to. Make use of available resources to find what you need to be okay. You're worth that. You are. And now this. If you're a teenager or preteen, this might seem hard to imagine, but your mom and dad, they're actual people. Seriously, real human beings with their own authentic feelings. Parents sometimes get lonely too. They do. Parents also get scared. They're sometimes exhausted and the whole gamut of it all, right? And they have made and currently make sacrifices for you that you will never know. And if you sometimes said, thank you, or I'm sorry, it'd be the right thing to do from time to time. I mean, truly. Remember, your mom, your dad, they're human persons as well. To end back to the gospel moment, after today's confrontation, the scriptures tell us that Jesus would go back with Mary and Joseph to Nazareth, and that he listened to them more than ever, that he grew in wisdom and age and grace. Deep down, he knew that he was loved, and that his parents were committed to him no matter what, and that they would continue to together do the hard work of relationship. For each of us, whatever our life, our family structure right now, being a family member is hard, but this painful work, this difficult, often messy process of growing, it's so worth it. For this is truly what makes a family holy.